Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to your live Investment Dominator live Q&A call. My name is Warren Davis, and I'm going to be leading the call for this evening. And we're just glad to have all of you on there. And see there are several participants. There's a lot of participants on right now, and I'm sure we'll have more joining us as we go along. But we just want to make sure you are welcome. I want to do a quick sound check. Hopefully you can see my screen. You should just see the Investment Dominator screen right now. We could just, those of you that are on the call, if you can see the screen and you can hear me okay, why don't you just respond by saying yes or give me a Y or something. Let me know that we're coming through all right. Okay. Looks like we have most individuals can hear us, and I think we're coming through loud and clear. Well, we want to take this opportunity to again welcome you to your Investment Dominator live Q&A call. We are here to support you in your progress and each of your respective businesses. We want to address any and all questions we can as they relate to the Investment Dominator, the LPG system, as well as any challenges that you might be encountering as you move forward in your land business. So as we move forward, I'm so thankful to have with me here this evening the actual founder, and I'm calling him the subject matter expert of the Investment Dominator, and that's Alex Dela Cruz. And I think most of you have probably already met him, but just wanted to make sure you know he's on the call, and he's going to be assisting us with a lot of the questions. So Alex, why don't you say good evening to the people?
Hey there, everyone. I'm here on the line. So I just arrived. Jack was getting off of the Quick Start webinar, and I jumped right in after him. So on this call, so I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. Thanks, Alex. And as I first stated, we were make sure everybody can hear and everything's going well so far. I'm going to be able to go to my next. Oh. Okay, excellent. There it goes. All right. As I said, I'm Warren Davis, and I'm actually a fellow land profit generator student, just like a lot of you. I am a student. My wife and I have been involved in the LPG system, and we've been with Jack and Alex for probably since 2017. And we're still learning a lot about the tool, but it's a very powerful tool, this Investment Dominator. And we use it to do all of our deals. I'm on it just practically every day, and I do have an extensive IT background. However, one of the main reasons I'm on this call with you today is because I'm just like you. I'm learning, and I want to. Thankful for all of you that are on the call and have asked so many good questions, because it helps me to learn more about this system. And we're here to help you all succeed in your businesses. My wife and I have found this to be just one of the most incredible businesses we have ever been a part of. And in terms of real estate, it's the one business that we've been able to make a significant income and really see some progress in our finances. So we are just so grateful, and that's why I did want to join this team, because this is such a great product and a great system, and we work with a great team of people. So as you heard Alex on the being the co-presenter. He's been with the Investment Dominator and with Jack for over 12 years, so he's actually the founder of it. He knows so much about this system. But for CRM, a customer relationship management tool, there are many out there in the field, but I want you to know this is one of the best that I have ever seen and come across. And in terms of it being intuitive into your land business, it will help organize your business in ways that will just astound you. So I encourage you to dig in and keep the questions coming, get your questions answered, and you will be amazed at how this system will work on your behalf. And just so you know, there's a little housekeeping. As we, if you have any questions or if you want to raise your hand, you'll see that there's a little hand icon that allows you to raise your hand. At least it'll get our attention. And we may not be able to stop and answer your questions right away. That's where Alex is going to be helping me to field some of the questions. We have certain questions that we're going to start with, but I want you to be able to raise your hand by the little hand icon and put your questions in the question box, and we will see them as they come up, and hopefully we'll be able to get most of them answered as quickly as possible. And just want you to know, these live Q&A sessions, they are recorded. So if you do miss, or if we don't get your question answered today, we will definitely note your question and we'll get it answered on the next call. So don't think if you don't get your question answered today that it's not going to be answered. It will be answered. And since the calls are recorded, you can go back at any time and you can listen and see the answers to your questions. You'll see the next time you go on there that we have little time slots also, so you will know how much into the actual recording, your question that you want to hear will come up. So just want you to take advantage of that and make sure that you get all of your questions in and we will get them answered for you. Okay, so that's a little housekeeping there. Exactly how it works. So now we're going to get started with answering some of the questions from the last session that came up. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Now, we know that this particular system, the Investment Dominator, is built primarily around Jack's LPG, or the Land Profit Generator system. So it works very much in concert with that. And so one of the first questions we had, even before we get into the Land Profit Generator or the Investment Dominator, someone wanted to know the difference between Monday meetings or Monday calls and Thursday calls. And we want you to know there's really no difference in the calls. The content will be the same. We'll be answering questions about the Investment Dominator. Both are meant to support your progress in your land business. And we just want to make sure that we have a medium or an avenue for you to have all of your questions answered. And any challenges that you come up with, we want you to be, feel free to, post it as a question, and we will get an answer for you. So actually, there's no difference. They're just different. The meetings are on different times, obviously, so that we can accommodate some schedules. And I believe going forward, we're looking to even add a few more meetings so that we can answer more individuals' questions and allow for, different individual schedules as they may be. So, that was one question that we had from the last session. Question number 2 is set up on your selling site, let's see, our buyers tab. Someone wanted to know how to utilize it well. So that's question number 2. How to utilize your buyers tab well. And I'm going to answer that question really in three different points. Number 1, we know that basically your buyers list is a list of all the prospects that you have that come into your site that want to purchase land. So the buyers list is a list of prospects that you grow, you're going to refine, and you're going to nurture these individuals over a period of time. People on your buyers list, they're, first of all, point number 1, they're learning to trust your business. We found this out firsthand, but people want to know that your business is actually going to be around. I remember one of the first individuals that bought property from us in our company, he wanted to do business with us, the man wanted to do business with us, but his wife was extremely skeptical. And she had heard about so many different scams that were out there in the marketplace. And so he wanted to purchase this one parcel of land that we had available, but he held off on that mainly because his wife wasn't comfortable. She said we were new to the market, and she didn't know if we were a business that might scam them. So they held off for an entire year, and finally came in. They went to see our attorney and finally put down a check for a parcel of land to pay for it free and clear. And he finally relayed this to me, that was one of the reasons. They were on our buyers list they were one of the first people on our buyers list, but they did not do business with us until they were sure we were credible. They wanted to know that our attorney was credible. So just to give you an idea, people will take their time in purchasing. Second reason on a buyer's list, how you can use it effectively, your buyer's list will help you stay in touch with those prospective buyers. We know that real estate purchases, they're not normally impulse buys. So it takes us a few contacts, or what we call touches, before you'll probably actually sell a property to someone on your buyer's list. People who purchase, other than professional land investors, they're usually in a decision-making period for quite a while, deciding if they want to buy or don't want to buy a particular parcel of land. Most of the buyers that bought from us, they want to build a home, or they're looking to recreate, and they want to have the right place. So your buyer's list helps you stay in touch with those individuals until they decide to actually purchase. And then point number 3, one of the most effective ways to use your buyer's list, and we're still searching this one out, is you will increase your ability to market properties that come into your inventory. We have quite a few properties under contract right now, and what we have to do as we get a new property that comes on into our inventory, we want to utilize our buying list to reach out to all those individuals that have contacted us for land in the past. And we're looking at using a service called MailChimp. Now, that's just one service that's out there. And this basically, to give you an example, we could use our buyers list to reach out to all of our prospective buyers, anyone that has ever contacted us, anyone that's ever opted in to our website, and we've collected their name, their email address, their phone number. We're going to use a service like MailChimp to communicate any new parcels of land that we get under contract. So that's one of the main ways to use your buyer's list effectively, is using a service like a MailChimp. Now, we're in the process, as I say, of checking this out completely, but I think it's going to help us greatly, because right now we have to remember, we go back and we contact certain buyers that wanted certain parcels of land, and this is going to help us tremendously in our marketing effort for our land. So I hope that answers that question on how to use your buyer's list a little bit more effectively. And we have question number 3. Question number 3 is, can I customize the offer letter? Or it's actually, Jack's offer letter. Now, we just want to say up front, we want to disclose that we don't recommend you making any changes, to this built-in document, because it has been tried and tested and works very well. However, you may have a need to do that. And in order to do that, one individual said they just wanted to make a one-line change. So we're going to show you exactly how you can make that happen. Hope everybody can still see my screen here. And we're going to show you basically how you can customize a document, or customize that specific document and make your one-line change. So first of all, you're going to go to on your Investment Dominator under Customize. You're going to pull up Custom Documents. And again, these steps are outlined. They're outlined on the your site here, but they're also outlined. They'll be outlined. You can go back and look at this document and look at the tape again if you miss any of my steps. So we go under Customize, Custom Documents, then we go to Add Document. And you see you have a drop down, and you want to select, since it's going to be for the offer letter, land only. And it brings you into this screen here. You notice land only is selected. Our document type, we want to make sure is both. That's saying that it's going to create not only a PDF for you, but it will also create a document or a Word document for you as well. The status, we want to hit pending preliminary research, because that's where that's the status your offers need to be in. And document type, portrait, we let that remain the same. And you decide to name this, let's say test demo 01. You can name it, whatever offer letter that makes sense to you. Now, this is one of the important steps here. Is you want to make sure you change the content, or you get the content of that particular letter. So you want to hit this button here called source. Okay? And so now what we want to do, we want to make sure we can text, or we want to put in the source to that actual document. And so I'm going to go to a place here. Hope you can see this. This is the source for that particular document. Now, to find that, I simply went to your search on the Investment Dominator, and basically you can just type in offer, and it will come up with, how to customize one of Jack's documents. So we're basically going to copy this entire document. Now, so I just put my cursor up there and I slid it down to copy, and I'm going to do a Control C, which is going to allow me to copy this entire document. That's where I get the source, and I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to paste this. So you can either right click and paste, or you can do a Control V, and that will put the document into your actual source. Now, if you know HTML code, which a lot of us do not, you can make your change here, or you can just hit source again, and you'll see a much more legible, understandable version of your document. So we said we wanted to just make one line change. So if I put in here, one line change, I can change this document. I can use these HTML settings up here. I can highlight, and I can make that bold there. And you see we have our entire document in here. Now, of course, generate envelope or label. We want to make sure we select label. These all export data, you want to say yes. Allow bulk update, yes. And then, the next status after you move it from pending preliminary research is offer option sent. So when you say offer option sent, that should be all of the parameters you need to create your customized version. And you simply hit add. And as you can see, it creates now my test demo version. Later on, if you want to come back and make additional changes, all you have to do is come back into this customized documents. You'll see this displayed. You can hit edit. You can make those same types of changes and then update it again. So when we go back now to the land deals and we look for one particular record that's under pending preliminary research, we want to make sure you can select that record, and I'm going to hit my generate documents. Now you can either hit this generate documents since you selected that record. I'm going to kind of hit the bulk update, and the system generates this for you. This is a very powerful CRM. It makes our work much easier. You can see here I'm under my custom document template. I have my test demo 1. And I want to come in here, I'm going to leave the PDF version. I just want you to see the documented version. That displays. And voila, there it is. And it comes, you see where I made my one line change. So those are the steps that are necessary for you to be able to make changes to any of the documents that are existing. And again, recommend that you leave them as they are, but some folks feel the need to, to change up their document a little bit, and that's exactly how you do it. So I hope that answers that question for you. Okay, question number.
Warren,
Yes.
we're getting let's see, Beth just sent in a question. She wanted to know if you could just show where you got the source code again one more time on the user guide article.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. No problem, Beth. So I went here and I searched. I simply typed in into my search. I just typed in offer, and then when I searched, it comes up with all these different articles, and I think they're mostly articles. I don't think there's any videos, but I selected this: how do you customize Jack's offer letter? And that gives me my steps here: how to create a custom offer template. And then when you get down to document content, you can see this is in blue. So this is an actual link that can be accessed. And I clicked on that link, and it takes me here to display all of the text for that particular letter. And this is what you would make sure you copy. Start at the very top. So we make sure you've scrolled all the way to the top, start to the far left, and just, select that entire text. Okay? Good question. Excellent. Okay. So, and moving on, question number 4. And I'm just noting. Okay, question number 4. Prior to importing a scrubbed CSV file from accounting, and a CSV file is just the format that Excel can use. If I'm acquiring an entire tax roll from a large county, what's the best means to receive the caveat, or in other words, you might say the raw data? How can we? What's another way to receive this data? Dealing with an entire tax roll from a large county. There's one of 3 ways that we have done this, and Alex may have another way that he could enlighten us with as well. When we've been working with a large tax roll, the first way we did it, we took the entire vacant land list. We asked the county, on their website, where do you get a vacant land list? So the people at the county, at least the counties we've been dealing with, were very helpful. They helped us to identify a vacant land list actually on their site. And so the first thing we did, which was, it was an arduous, time-consuming way, but we were able to do it. We pulled that data into a CSV file, and we manipulated the data in Excel. And we manually separated all the individuals from the company. We went through this process so we could see exactly how to do that. And we did that for at least 3 of our first 3 counties that we dealt with. And as I say, it's very difficult because the Investment Dominator has a certain format where it starts with the individual or company. So that's the type, and then your first name, last name, address, and you have to parse all this data. You have to separate all of that data. That's quite a process. But we did get it done for 3 of our counties, and then the next way that we were able to acquire this list so that we could actually feed it into Investment Dominator, we actually contacted a county directly in their tax department, and we had to make a few phone calls to get to the right individuals, by the way. But we requested a vacant land list of all individuals and even their company land parcels where the owners did not live in the same county as the property. And I remember we received something like probably about 45,000 records, and we paid, for this particular county, we paid $107. But for us, $107 versus it took my wife and I probably 3 or 4 days to parse out, an entire county list with individuals and county. That $107 to us was well spent. They gave us back a list of all the vacant land with individuals and companies in that one list. It was $72 for the actual list, and it was a $35 processing fee. We paid something like that. Now, understand that those prices vary from county to county, so I'm just trying to give you a ballpark of what you might expect to pay. And then we were able to get county lists, by the way, that lasted us for over a year. When we put all the counties together we were working, that data lasted us for over a year. So, spending that $100 for the county data, that was well worth it to us. The third way, which is a way that we're actually in the process of doing right now, we get an entire tax roll from a large county. We're sending this data file to a virtual assistant, and they're skilled in parsing out the data into the data fields that Investment Dominator can use. So that's actually the third way that we put this county data together so that it can be what we call Investment Dominator ready. So I hope that that addresses that question. If Alex, again, if you have another way that you can think of, please feel free to jump in here.
Yeah, I just I want to add a couple of things. So we had a few questions come through the live questions here. One of it was how are you looking up these articles? And this will kind of segue into this question about data processing. So what Warren was showing there was the user guide. We have a complete searchable user guide. You can get to it one of two ways. You can go directly to it, which is what Warren had on his screen, which was the direct URL to this is user-guide.investmentdominator. Now, if you don't feel like typing that in, there's a faster way to get to it, and that's what Warren is showing on his screen there. You click on Help, and then you click down to where it says Search our user guide. And if you wouldn't mind, Warren, just type in import, and that'll kind of lead into the import fields. So this will, if you just type in a keyword like import and click Search User Guide, it will come up with a few articles concerning that. And you might have it on a different screen, Warren.
Gotcha. Yep, sure. That's exactly what happened. Yep, it came up over here on this screen.
So if we have two different, areas, one for houses, one for land, one for buyers list import. So if you click on the one that says how to import for land, because that's what we were talking about just earlier, the one over to the right, top right. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So the only comment I want to add here is if you scroll down, the most important thing about this article is this table here, which not only tells you what the names of the fields should be in your import list, it also tells you the only fields you can import. Like I see, if I do see lists that have issues, a lot of them have more fields than are listed on this table, or they have fields like they might have instead of first name, last name, they might have a field called owner first name, owner last name, and you just have to change it to exactly match what is put on this user guide article. So it actually doesn't matter the order that these columns are. It only matters that you use the correct name under where it says field name. And then over on the right-hand side of that table where it says value, just take a look at those descriptions. It'll tell you exactly what values are acceptable. So for example, when you're talking about property size, the size is always going to be in acres instead of square feet, things like that. And that's kind of shown on the right-hand side of the table. And then at the very top where it says type, Warren, you mentioned this earlier, you can only put individual or company. and that's where it's stated there. So really, a lot of the kind of confusion and stuff happens when people don't look at this table. So I would, if you import a list and you're getting some kind of an error that says invalid, field or invalid type, just come back and look to see if you've named all your fields correctly based off of this article.
Right.
And then if you have the acceptable values that are mentioned on the right-hand side of this. So I think that'll help out a lot. And if worst case scenario, if you still can't figure that out, just open up a ticket and actually include your list. And what we do is we'll take a look at your list and we actually just run it right by these same rules that we're looking at right here. And a lot of times we might just be able to, pick something out that you might have missed, like a different field name or something like that. But it's usually something small like that.
Excellent.
So that's the only thing I wanted to add there. Thanks.
Just all of these, just all of them. Last, since my company listed as the site sites, if I search the name, comes up one right after. So that could be a problem if it's searching for the information. What do you suggest I do?
Hey Warren, sorry to interrupt you. I'm not sure, but there's quite a few people raising their hands saying that your audio is cutting out.
Well, the audio is cutting out?
Yeah. So we
Oh.
might, I'm not sure. Is it clear up now, guys? Okay, people are saying we have audio again. All right, so.
Oh, okay.
All right,
okay.
Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Sorry about that. So I'm hoping everybody heard the question. It was basically the question of this selling site and buying site, your company name being there, and it's the same in both your buying site and your selling site. And the concern is that when customers do a search, that might be confusing to them. But as you can see,
Hey, Warren, are you there? Hi, everyone. This is Alex. I just kind of took over this call because I think Warren is actually having some problems with his internet right now. So what I'm going to do, and let me know in the comments here if you guys can hear me or not. Okay, I see a lot of people saying yes, you can hear me. All right, so sorry about that. I think there's some kind of an internet connection on Warren's end. Warren, if you can hear me, go ahead and just log out of the conference and log back in. We'll get you back online, but in the meantime, I'll just kind of take over. We'll come back to your question there, and in the meantime, I'll take some of these live questions coming through, and then once we can resolve this audio issue on your end, Warren. Okay, so if you guys can hear, I'm going to go to some of your live questions. I do see that there was a couple that came through while Warren was talking, and so I want to just go through and address that right now. So let me scroll up a little bit here and take. Let's see. Scott had sent in a question about how to. I think this was when Warren was talking about creating that custom document, and he was asking about how to move a couple lines down from the date. So make an adjustment on that date. And I have a slightly different demo account than Warren had open there, so I don't have his actual document. But this account right here has, I believe, some custom documents that we can look at. So let's just take, there's all kinds of test stuff in here. So let me go to this user guide article that Warren was on. And the way that I find it, he typed in offer, but you can actually just type in Jack because it's Jack's offer template. So that's how I pull it up. And this was the content that Warren had here. And I'm just going to go under source tab like he had it, paste this in, and here you go. So to answer your question, Scott, how to make line breaks in there. If you want to add line breaks up here or down here, I'm not sure where you want to add it, but you just click where you want to put the line breaks and you hit enter. You notice when I hit enter, it comes down. Now there's two ways to add line breaks, which is actually something I want to address. One of them, if I hit enter, it actually creates what's called a paragraph break. Okay, an actual line break is more like this. Okay, and the way that I'm doing a paragraph break, by the way, and a line break is if I just hit the enter key or the return key on my keyboard, that makes a paragraph break. But if I want a line break, I actually hold down shift and then hit the enter key, and that creates a regular line break. Okay, so that's how I'm creating line breaks, and however you create these in this document, when you save it, it'll show up. So I hope that answers your question, but I just wanted to point out that there is a difference between a line break and a paragraph break, and if you just hit enter, you're just creating a paragraph break. That's why there's a lot of space in between there. All right, so you can send in a follow-up question, Scott, if you have any there. All right, so let me go to another question that came in. Let's see. Todd said that he's a newbie, and where's the site that we can review all these helpful tips? Okay, so I think we answered that earlier, but just in case, Todd, all the place where you're going to find all these resources is under the help tab, and then that's where you can find all the resources. So we have like a quick start session here. We have these weekly Q&A calls what we're on right now. You can register for them, and you can also see the replays by clicking this link. So like, for example, we had a call on Tuesday. If you click this link here, you can bring up the replay, and this was the call from Tuesday. If you click on that, this was the call. So this is the actual replay on the right-hand side. You can bring up the video by just clicking on it, and it loads. I'll just shut that off for now. But here is what Warren was talking about with the timestamp. So if you want to just skip ahead to like minute 42, you can take a look at what we were talking about doing land analysis, value analysis. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question about where to find the helpful tips. It's really all found within this help guide or this help tab. And here is also where we were searching for the user guide, searching for different keywords. That's also found there. We also have a separate user guide for our API here, and that's accessible again through this help tab. So really everything is available through the help tab. The other thing is you can create a support ticket if you have a question, and then you can also view your ticket history. Okay, and then you guys have great feature suggestions. You want to actually always send them through this feature suggestion form so that we can keep track of them, and we look at all of the feature suggestions when we're deciding on new features to implement in the upcoming releases. And we do update the system quite often. All right, so hopefully that answers your question, Todd. And let's see here. John asked, where are you finding your virtual assistants? So that's a good question. That's more of like a business type question, not necessarily like an investment dominator question, but I'll answer it. For the most part, if we were just going to find a new virtual assistant, we would actually probably go to Upwork.com. That is a hub of all kinds of professional uh, people that provide all kinds of services. So whether we're looking for a data processor or somebody to answer our phone calls or somebody for a developer or whatever, we always usually start with Upwork.com, and so that is what we kind of recommend as a general kind of resource. So you'll hear Jack talk about this quite a bit because there's just a lot of stuff you can find on Upwork. So this is also a good place to find a virtual assistant. Now, you will how Upwork works is you actually have to post like a job posting listing on this, and then people bid. So virtual assistants out there, they will bid on your project. So whether you need somebody full time, part time, or just for 2 weeks or whatever, you'll put that in your job description, and then virtual assistants will actually bid out that job, and you can decide based on a couple of factors. One of them being their ratings from other business owners. So that's one thing that we look at. The other thing that we like to do, just as a kind of a tip for you there, is when we're trying to find new people to work with that we've never worked with them before, we will actually have them perform somewhat of like a test task in the interview process. So we'll say, hey, I'd like you to process this list, or I'd like you to, record a voicemail message, or just something that they have to do. And then we have them submit that to us as part of the interview process, because what you'll find is that 90% of people don't do anything, and so you can easily kick them out of the running. And the 10% that actually do read your description and follow your rules kind of for the job posting, you can actually find a very good candidate that way, because number one, they can read instruction. Number two, based on what actual test you're giving them, you can actually evaluate how well they perform that actual task. So again, if you're asking somebody to take your phone calls, one of the tests might be to record a voicemail message for me, and so I can see what your voice sounds like and see how friendly you are and all that kind of stuff. If somebody doesn't do that, they might be not a good candidate. But if they do record it and their voice doesn't fit into what you're looking for, then it can help you speed up the process of finding a good VA. So that's one general way to find a VA. There's also many different services out there, like, and I'll just kind of name a bunch of stuff, and you can do your own research. These are all third-party services. But you can look at finding a virtual assistant. There's like a company out there called 123 Employee, which finds virtual assistants for you. We have there's if you want somebody to take your phone calls, for example, there's Pat Live, which is a service that takes your phone calls. There's services like Lex Reception that will take your phone calls, and there's many others. In regards to like land investing, I've seen also posted on the Facebook group on and I've never used the service myself, but landmasters.us. Somebody has posted on there, and again, I don't endorse this at all. I'm just mentioning it because I've seen it. Supposedly, these VAs are already trained in land related tasks. They even mentioned Jack here, although this is not affiliated with us whatsoever. So I'll just throw that out there. But you can check it out and see. Again, these are third-party services. So with whatever VA you hire, you're going to have to train them like they would be a regular employee. So you're going to have to train them. You're going to have to kind of manage them just like you would an employee. But hopefully that helps you out with some resources on finding a good virtual assistant, John. Okay, let's move on to Adam. Adam sent in a question about what's the best way to skip trace a dozen or so returns. Okay, so if you only have a dozen, Adam, then depending on if you want to keep costs down or not, I guess that's the other factor. Because you're going to have to use a skip tracing service to find the new address of the owner. And just to kind of give everybody on the call a little overview of what we're talking about with skip tracing, it's when you send out a letter to somebody based on the county's information, right? You're getting this information from the county, and the letter gets returned, then you're going to have to try to find that new, find out where that owner moved to, okay? And in order to do that, you're going to use a skip trace, what's called a skip trace. To find that. Now, there's many different services out there. One of the services we like to use, or that's cheap, I guess, in the beginning when you're trying to keep costs down, is Spokeo. And I believe that's how it's spelled, spokeo.com, Spokeo.com. All right, so this one's a very cheap alternative. I don't see the pricing here, but it's something like $6 a month. If you get their basic, I believe it. I've seen it different. They have different promotions and things like that, but I've seen it anywhere from, let's say, $5 to $10 for their basic per month. And so I'm not actually sure what their current pricing is, but it should be around there, which is going to be one of the cheapest. Yeah. So see, it says $77.95 a month. So that's pretty cheap for a skip tracing service. Now, one of the, I guess the not so good thing about this service is that you're going to have to skip trace these people. You're saying you have a dozen of these people. You're going to have to do that one by one, which is okay. Oh, I can hear you, Warren. Did you just get back on?
I just got back on. Thank you.
All right, no problem. I was just taking some live questions while you were jumping off. All right, cool. So I'll finish up with a couple, and then you can finish up with the question you were on before. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we were talking about skip tracing here, and so I was showing Spokeo is like an affordable service out there. Again, third-party service. You're going to have to vet it, but I have used this one myself, and it's very user-friendly. It's very cheap, and that's the main thing. Now, if you want to do things that are more bulk-related, I believe there's I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what the name of it is, but I believe it's bulk skip tracing, and I'll just Google it because I'm not quite sure. We actually use TLO, but in the office here, which comes up with one of the search results, we actually use this one. But a lot of people starting out, if you don't have a physical office for your company, you won't get approved for this one. So you have to actually have a physical office. So this one's quite good. It actually is. It's not expensive. It's actually not that bad, but you still have to search for people one by one. But it will. They have all these requirements. Like they actually come to your office and interview you and all this kind of stuff. So if you have a home office, you're not going to be approved for it. I think this is the one that I'm actually thinking about. batchskiptracing.com. Let me just pull this one up. I was looking at it the other day. I just full disclosure, I don't have an account with them, but this is the one that I probably will check into pretty soon. And there's actually other ones like this, but I think this is the cheapest one that I've seen as far as batch skip tracing. So if we go to pricing over here, I'll just yeah, so it's 35 cents per record, but you can import as many records as you want. So kind of relating this to the Investment Dominator, if I go back into the Investment Dominator, what we like to do is we like to do things in batches. So personally, what I do is I outsource that step to a VA. Going back out to the VA comment, I would have a VA do it, as one of these tasks. When they're not doing something else, they would be skip tracing a property for me. Okay, but if you don't have a VA and you want to do things in batches, then I would sign up for a service like this, and there's plenty of them, but I think this was one of the cheapest, batchskiptracing.com. And what you want to do is, as you collect the people that get returned to you, they're going to be put under the skip tracing tab. Okay, so I don't have any right now on this, but let's move some over so I can kind of show you what we're doing. So let's say that these letters right here come back to your return. That means they're going to be moved to the skip trace status. And because they're moved to that skip trace status, they're going to show up under this skip trace tab. And you've got a list of 3. Now, Adam, was it? Yeah, Adam, you're saying you have a dozen. I would say that's probably not worth signing up for bulk yet. But if you get into like the hundreds, then what you're going to want to do is select all of these, and then you want to export them, okay, to a file. And when you export them to a file, you import them into this service. And then what this company does is they actually skip trace everything on your file and then send you back a new file with the new addresses. And what you're going to want to do at that point is you're going to want to re-import those into the system. But here's what you're going to want to do. When you re-import them into the system, you're going to go under import, and we have this. This is a new feature, and you're going to actually want to check this box right here. Okay, with this box here, you're updating existing owners, because remember, these people already exist in your system. They just exist with a wrong address. So when you re-import these people, if you don't check this box, then it won't let you import the records, because it'll say basically these already exist in your system. So you want to check this box, and basically what it will do is it'll overwrite their old address with the new address. Okay, and that's how you're going to be able to update them in bulk. Now, one thing you want to note is you want to read this line here. If you select this, it's going to move all of the people that are in your spreadsheet here into the prospect status. So if you remember, if you got a list of people that are currently under skip trace, right? They're currently under skip trace. As soon as you import and you bulk import that, they're going to be automatically moved from skip trace to prospect, which is actually the status that you want to be in, because that's the status that generates the neutral letter. And again, you want to create the neutral letter so you can actually mail them a letter that gets to them. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Adam, on how to skip trace. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I can hear Warren, and I think he's resolved his internet issues. So I'm going to kick it back over to Warren there, and I'll let you finish up, Warren, and then we do have some other questions here, I think, and if we have some time, we can answer them. Otherwise, we'll answer these on the Thursday call. Okay?
Okay, very good. Thank you, Alex. I did have some internet issues, unfortunately. What I was on at the time was we were talking about our sites, selling sites and our buying site. Basically, someone had asked about this name showing up and being a confusion to any of the customers that might be searching for their buying title, their seller site or their buying site. And this name would be exactly the same here. And what I was just sharing at the time is that that's really not an issue because it does not only display the name of your company, but it will display your domain name, which is what you have with GoDaddy. So, you know, like ours is www.sweetland4you, okay, on our buying site. But underneath that, it will also say, welcome. If you need to sell your property for any reason, we can help you. So in our buying site, obviously, it says this here. So, you know, we buy real estate, ask for cash. That's on your buying site if someone were interested in selling you property. So it's not really a problem that this name, your company name, displays on both sites because you have enough defining information in your URL, not your URL, but your domain name and your description that it won't confuse the customer. So that's basically what I was trying to wrap up there when I had the internet issue. So The final question I think is going to, that I had was, I'm going to defer until I think our next call, because it's, unless you want me to, you to get into it, Alex, about deleting records from your latest import from the system.
Oh, okay. Let me. I can show that on my screen just because I think the people are seeing my screen right now, anyways. So
Okay.
let me answer that question real quick, and then let's see, Beth. I do see your question here. Beth had sent it in a couple times. Let me pull that up. Okay, so Beth is asking about line span. Okay, because her question, her original question that she asked earlier was, she wants to post on Craigslist, but she needs a verification number. So here's the thing is, I know she's referring to a tutorial that we have in the Land Profit Generator course, where I actually did the tutorial, and we use line span to create a verification number. And for all of you, I know we have different, people on the call that are on different stages, but when you get to the stage where you're marketing your property for sale, which is where Beth is at, one of the ways that we sell property is through Craigslist. Now, here's how I'm going to answer this question, Beth, because since that tutorial on Land Profit Generator, or that's posted on Land Profit Generator, we've actually not had to use line span because Craigslist has changed a couple of things since that time. But I do know that line span actually was sold to another company called, it was called VPN lines or something like that. And if you're on line span, let me bring it up here. Linespan.com, because it used to be that you could just create a premium number here, and that would verify your account. But they got sold to another company, even though it still says Linespan over here. If you go to actual support, and this is how we know this, because if you go to support, it actually got sold to this company, Instant Numbers, and then the parent company is like something like VPI, VIP lines or something like that. But you actually need to create an account with Instant Numbers to get that premium number nowadays. And I actually, to be honest with you, I haven't used this service in quite a while, because here's the thing: is you can avoid all of that by just following a couple of parameters on Craigslist. And I'll go through that real quick. Craigslist made a change where they don't require you to verify your number anymore, as long as when you originally post, you're under incognito mode, and you're only posting one active property per Craigslist account. That means if you have 3 properties, don't post all 3 properties on one Craigslist account, because by doing that, they're going to automatically ask for you to verify your number. Okay, and then you have this whole problem where you got to verify a cell phone, but you don't have a cell phone because you only have one cell phone, right? So that's where this VPN number comes in, this verification number comes in. To avoid that, all you need to do is set up 3 Craigslist accounts, okay? 3 separate Craigslist accounts, and it can be as easy as going to Gmail and setting up, I sell land 1 at gmail.com, I sell land 2 at gmail.com, I sell land 3 at gmail.com, and getting 3 email addresses, and then going to Craigslist and doing that exact same thing, setting up 3 different accounts on Craigslist. Now, again, you're going to have to do this in incognito mode. If you don't know what that means, let me just see if you can see this on my screen or not. You actually don't see this on my screen. But down at the very bottom of your screen, you actually right-click over your browser icon. So in this case, I'm using Chrome, so I right-click, and then I say New Incognito Window, and that opens up this new tab that's a dark kind of color, and it says you're in incognito mode. So when you're setting up both the both the Gmail accounts and the Craigslist accounts, you're going to want to make sure you're in this mode, and then go ahead and set up those 3 accounts. And then, again, in this mode, you're going to log into Craigslist in one of your accounts, post one of your properties, log out, open up another incognito window, go into your next Craigslist account, post the next property under there. And if you do that, you could have 15 different accounts. You could have 15 different properties all at the same time, and you shouldn't ever see the verification screen. Okay, so that's how we're getting around it these days. when at the time that I created that tutorial, Craigslist did not have that workaround, so we had to use a verification number. And just to let you know, the reason that this like a Google Voice number won't work is because a Google Voice number is not a real, like it's not a real cell phone number, and Craigslist can figure out a real cell phone number versus a digital number. Okay, so you have to go through a line span type company. Now, I don't actually, off the top of my head, I don't even know of an alternative to line span other than they were sold to this parent company. So that's a long answer, but that's the reason why we don't even kind of recommend that anymore or support that line span because we've never come up with that issue in the last year or so. Previous to that, you always had that issue, and so we had to create these phone numbers to verify the accounts. All right. So let's see. Beth is also saying there's a typo there's a document about CallRail. I'll have to look at that after the call, but I will make a note of that. I'll take a look at that. If you can send in the actual URL, Beth, to what you're talking about, that would speed up our, so we can just take a look at the document you're talking about. All right, let me see if there's any other questions that came in, Warren. And if you see any, feel free to chime in. I think we answered a lot of these when you were off the line. So,
yeah.
I just want to make sure we got everything. Okay, Jamie just sent in a question. Says, is there any like help guide for the incognito mode? No, because this is this is not a Investment Dominator thing. This is just a best practice, and it has to do with Craigslist. And again, if you didn't catch that, Craigslist changes their rules quite a bit. So in the last 3 years, Craigslist has changed probably 16 different things about their verification thing, and that's something that is just kind of an ongoing kind of part of the business type deal. Same thing for every other listing service out there. For example, Zillow.com, they've changed quite a bit of their verification processes over the last year. Facebook Marketplace has also changed quite a bit in their verification processes. So you just kind of have to keep up with it. That's also why we have the Facebook group. So when these things come up, you can actually post a question like that to all the other people that are doing land, and they'll tell you right away. Like, for example, this Craigslist question has come up in the last, I've seen it in the last 3 months come up, and every time it's been answered by somebody in the list that, basically is not something that you need to verify as long as you follow those rules that I just outlined. So yeah, we don't have anything in the Investment Dominator help guide regarding that because it's not an Investment Dominator specific question. Hope that makes sense, Jamie. All right, so see here. Yes, Mayo, this call is recorded and it's going to be posted on the user guide. So you just want to, again, let me show you my screen. You just want to go over to the help tab and then go under where it says weekly live Q&A calls and then click on this link that says view the replays. It's not immediate, but give us a couple of days and you'll see this replay from this call. So you can see this one that was posted, I think this morning or so. This one was the one from Thursday. So it does take a couple of days, Mayo, but you will be able to see all of the recordings, including this one, on the user guide itself. Okay, I think we showed that a few times, but let's see here. I think we got it. We'll go through this list of questions again, just to make sure that we didn't miss anything. And if we did miss something, we will definitely address it on the first part of the Thursday call,
Yes.
which is, again, at noon Arizona time, or we're the same as Pacific Standard Time right now.
That's correct.
And I think it's 3 p.m. Eastern Time as well. Yeah, and Warren, do you have anything else to add?
No, just do apologize for the technical difficulty that we had, and I'm glad everybody could be on the call. And if we could just look forward to answering any more questions. Y'all had great questions today. And just one thought I just want to leave with you about success. You know, success is not final and failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. And that came from Winston Churchill. I like to read success quotes because it helps keep me going. So just continue to work hard and continue to ask your questions, get your questions answered, and you know, you're already successful, but you'll be even more successful. Just want everybody to have a great evening and a great week.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.